Welcome in. It's Winning Cures Everything. My name is Chris. I am hosting solo today for Winning Cures Everything. Gary is out of town on vacation the next 2 days. This is going to sound bad. It's going to look maybe worse. But I've got my good friend Sam Walters. He is 1/3 of West Lot Pirates, our buddies from Northwest. And if you watched our live draft, you know him. And if you haven't, then shame on you. Go back and watch it. Sam, what's up, man?
Not much, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm good. I wanted somebody to talk with. I didn't like doing it by myself last time. I am a super codependent person, if anybody didn't know that. And so I appreciate you getting in your schedule. We got a couple of things that we wanted to talk about. This is going to be a Northwestern heavy show. I hope people are okay with that. It's our show. That's what we're going to do. I love you guys, and you've converted me.
Appreciate it.
Before that, you are one of the few friends that I have that I can talk any NHL hockey stuff.
Love it.
Tell me, what do you think is going on with the CBA negotiations? Are we getting hockey restarted back? Are they going to do it better than the other sports?
So it sure looks like it. Right now, pretty much as we record, the owners the boards of governors are meeting. They came to an agreement over CBA extension and return to play. They're going to have the pods. I know you've talked about in the past how they're going to be splitting up the 12 teams in each pod. They're both in Canada, which is really interesting.
I thought that was a strange move, but okay.
Well, so it makes sense for a couple reasons. One, the Canadian dollar is like 74 cents to the American dollar, so they're losing money hands over fist. So you do everything in Canada, you're going to be saving some money. So that's a big one. And number two, but not to get political or anything, but like the Canadian government seemed to be handling things a little bit better than what we're doing here.
I thought they were a lot more restrictive than us, so I didn't know how the travel back and forth was going to work once they started going back and forth. But it doesn't seem like they're going to be moving back and forth too much.
Because you're looking at the Western Conference, I believe, is going to be in Edmonton. The Eastern Conference is going to be in Toronto. Yep. When you get to, I don't know if they're going to be merging them at the conference finals or for the Stanley Cup, but it's all going to be in Edmonton, so you don't have to worry about crossing the border, doing any quarantine, any of that sort of thing.
So that. I think that's a good thing. It looks like the semifinals is going to be in Toronto.
Okay.
And then the championship, the Stanley Cup finals, is going to be in Edmonton. So and they're not going to travel once they get to these places until that series is over, and then move everybody to that one. You're right. And I guess you're right. We do have laws right now where once you leave one country and come into the other, both of them are requiring another quarantine stage. Don't cross the border. We don't have to worry about it. Smart thing to do. And I didn't even think of the economics of it. That's crazy. So
yeah, no, I mean, like at the end of the day, it's 95% money. I mean, like I know Vegas was really considered to be a front runner, and rightfully so. Vegas could absolutely. Like numbers are skyrocketing in Vegas, but they would be able to completely isolate one hotel, and there's enough rooms, restaurants, things to do.
They put all 24 teams there and have it.
They absolutely could.
And everything. Yeah.
And you've got multiple sheets of ice for practice and things like that. You could make a really solid bubble in Vegas. So I don't know that necessarily that's the issue, but like the fact that the Canadian dollar is so much worse than the American dollar. I mean, like I said, when you're losing money hand over fist, it just makes sense to try to mitigate that as much as possible.
You got anybody you like that you think has a chance in this weird new format?
So what's so interesting is, you look at the draft lottery too. The fact that one of the teams that's losing in this qualifying round is going to get the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I love that so much. I was so excited when that happened. But that being said, Boston had been playing really, really well before everything stopped.
I just feel like it's a new season. That's 4 months ago.
I know. It's crazy. So, like, who knows what these teams are going to look like? You got some teams who were really banged up. Colorado, phenomenal team on paper. They were really banged up as the season went along. They're going to get a ton of guys back. So, look out for them. being from Colorado myself, part of me is pretty happy about that. Living in Chicago now, obviously, I'd love to see the Blackhawks do well. They're not going to.
No, they shouldn't be.
But I would not be surprised if they beat Edmonton in the opening round. I think that'd be, again,
I think that's going to happen.
Hilarious.
I think we're going to see some pretty big upsets because it's almost a new season outside of changing rosters and free agency. This free agency in the draft, this is a completely different season, and you might have played like crap last season, and now start this weird season, and you could be hot. You could have worked on your game. So Nashville was just – Pecorino looked done, okay? Yeah. He looked like anybody in the world could have scored on him here in Nashville. And there's a really good chance if he's got his head right and it was all a mental thing, and this is just all right, new season, new start. If Nashville gets hot, they've got the players. I would have never said that the way they were finishing coming into the playoffs at the end of the regular season. No chance. They're mentally and physically just looked whipped. And I think it's kind of anybody's game.
It really could be.
I mean, I'm always prejudiced to the Capitals. I like them. I love Boston. I love the Predators. But it would not surprise me to see big-time upsets with the way the formatting is.
So what could be really, really interesting is, so you've got the top 4 teams in each conference. They're playing round robin.
Yep.
Which basically it's meaningless. So you're going to have someone who's gone through a best-of-5 series, come out ahead, theoretically firing on all cylinders, and you've got another, the top teams that have been, they've been playing games for seedings. I don't even know exactly how that's going to look, but they're going to have, a well-rested, well, maybe not well-rested, but they worked out the kinks, the teams that's going to be advancing out of the qualifying round.
Rest should not be an issue in this thing.
Yeah.
This is a sprint to the finish, and if you can't fight like hell for two and a half months, then you don't deserve to win this thing. And I think it's going to be fun.
I can't wait.
Really excited. I love hockey playoffs. I know 80% of the people that listen have just said they're talking hockey. I'm listening to something else. We're getting off hockey now. We're going to transition in.
Before we do, I got to say, there's going to be 12 to 15 hours of hockey a day. And there is nothing like playoff hockey. The intensity ratchets up even, to an 11.
If you
amazing. If you haven't watched hockey before, this is the time to do it.
That's right. Just give it a chance. You haven't watched anything else. Not a lot else is going to be competing for your attention, okay? Just take a couple of hours and say, I'm going to watch one game from start to finish and just see how you like it. Because playoff hockey really is a lot of fun. That's how I got started in hockey, is I started getting into playoff hockey, only following it when the playoffs came around. And then I learned how to watch it. There is a learning curve for how to watch hockey.
Absolutely.
Once I learned how to watch it and felt more comfortable, I kind of could see things better, just like football, baseball, anything else. And then now I like regular season. I just like watching really good high-level hockey, and it's fun.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get off that. We'll get into your bread and butter a little bit. The way we'll start this is Northwestern Wisconsin was supposed to be played at Wrigley Field this year, and it was one of the games I was most excited about. Northwestern coming off one of the worst seasons we've seen. Maybe not worst, one of the most disappointing seasons we've seen in a long, long time.
Oh, you could. I will absolutely say it's one of the worst seasons in in the Pat Fitzgerald era. Easily.
A totally revamped offense. If you think they're going to look like anything close to what they look offensively last year, you're wrong. You're fooling yourselves. And then you've got a Wisconsin team who lost a lot of talent to the NFL. And how are they going to rebound? But they're always good. And a game being played at Wrigley Field, big deal for people in Chicago. Got canceled.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. It's a bummer because I was at the game at Wrigley Field in 2010, Northwestern versus Illinois. It was crazy. You couldn't use one of the end zones because the field didn't fit quite right, and yet there was a touchdown scored on the other way on an interception return. So I was excited to, they've done a little bit of remodeling on Wrigley Field, and there is enough room for a football field to be put in there. So I was definitely excited to get back there. It's just in general, Wrigley Field is a wonderful place to spend 3 hours, be it baseball or
Doing
whatever.
anything, watching a concert, just watching anything in Wrigley is fun.
Yeah, I used to live a mile away from Wrigley, so it was like I could have walked. But yeah, I mean, it's a bummer that the Wisconsin game is being canceled, moved back to Ryan Field this year. They're going to go back to Wrigley as soon as possible. They have a long-term agreement. Northwestern has a pretty long-term agreement with the Cubs. I think this Wisconsin game was going to be the first of like 4 games that they were going to be playing at Wrigley. So
that's awesome.
The Cats will be playing at Wrigley before too long. Obviously, with who knows what's going on with college football this year, the questions that are in the air, eliminate one of the variables and keep everything in the locker room.
Yeah, there's no purpose of playing at Wrigley without fans. That's the only reason to do it, is to give fans an opportunity to go see something unique and different. Mm-hmm. Drive 30 minutes this way, and let's go to this other field, and that's historic. And yeah, so that it would be pointless to do it without fans. So let's transition this to the Big Ten schedule. We don't have a lot of information about this yet, but yesterday you shared out, while we were going live, Gary was going through some just a little inside baseball, UFC details that I get lost in. And so I saw a text come through our group text. I'm playing on my phone while Gary's working, sadly. And you shared out that the Big Ten is strongly considering doing a 10-team, 10-game, all-in-conference schedule.
Yeah, I saw that come across on Twitter yesterday, and really interesting in how it's all going to work. I think they're going to be making decisions. I think all conferences are going to be making decisions in the next 7 to 10 days, because we're running out of time to actually make decisions. And so the possibility would be to go to 10 games, only conference games. So all the non-conference games are getting dropped, which Ohio State, Oregon. That was going to be fun.
Yep.
Right. And there were some other, fun non-conference games. Northwestern, their non-conference schedule was not exciting whatsoever. So we're losing Tulane, Central Michigan, and Morgan State. Whoop-de-doo. Yep. What it does mean is, so the Big Ten plays a 9-game conference schedule. If you're going to have 10 games, you're adding another conference game. How's that going to look if that happens? Are they going to mix?
There's only 4 teams that you don't play already, right?
Yeah. So the 4 teams Northwestern won't play is Rutgers, Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan. So I would love to not get Ohio State or Michigan.
I was about to say, you got a 50-50 shot here of this being a really good thing or a really scary thing.
Well, Indiana might be better than a lot of people think. We're right now on Westlaw Pirates. We're doing our summer previews. We've taken a look at Indiana already, and they're going to be interesting. Their defense is solid. Their offense, if Michael Penix can stay healthy, because they don't really have another proven quarterback, because Peyton Ramsey is now a Northwestern quarterback, which I'm excited about. Yeah, that's a whole other story. I'm sure we could get it. We talk about that for hours and hours. But if and there's a huge question. If you're going to completely change the schedule, are you going to completely change the schedule, or are you going to keep the schedule as is and just be moving games around
and just add one of the other teams that you haven't played, figure it out, and boom.
Yeah. So again, so many questions.
How many bye weeks does the Big Ten have?
1.
Just have 1? Okay, so the SEC might be the only conference that does 2 bye weeks. Well, I guess we have 14 teams, so it's different.
Well, so does Big Ten.
Oh, y'all do have 14. That's right. Shit, that's right. When y'all added Maryland and Rutgers, that got y'all to 14. I guess my question is I don't think it would be that hard. Everybody's got 1 bye week, but they're also all opening up 3 other games. So surely within those 3 open games now, you could figure out a way to say, all right, who doesn't play now? Let's make these matchups happen, because you really just have to have 1 extra team for each team.
Sure, and that's absolutely possible. The issue is in the Big Ten, most of the non-conference games all happen early. Like you do not see non-conference games happening late. Like there isn't,
You mean you don't play Kent State the week before Auburn? Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, we don't do it. And Kent State might even be a little good at, Central Carolina, Southeast Louisiana State, those are the kind of games you don't. Well, actually, Northwestern was supposed to play Morgan State in November, so we don't really have a lot of legs to stand on there.
No, LSU's doing the same thing, but we just started doing it. Bama's been doing it forever. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's gonna be interesting. And your schedule, if you guys do this, I think that is going to ripple effect to all the conferences doing that. I really believe the first to make a statement like that. Yesterday, I made a bold statement. I fully believe this. Nobody will convince me otherwise. What happened in the Ivy League has zero effect of what's going to happen in the Power Five. All right.
Ooh, okay.
If the Power Five choose to not play football at all, it won't be because the Ivy League chose to. They just happen to do the same thing, but they're not associated in any way, shape, form, or fashion. All right.
Yeah. The only ripple of because the Ivy Leagues are going to be playing group of 5 teams. If group of 5 teams start losing their
the group of 5 is not really the FCS. The Ivy League has one group of 5 game, and that's it, and it's Army. So that's the only team that lost a game based on what happened.
Okay.
With the Ivy League backing out. But if you guys were to do this, it affects obviously the Pac-12, and then I'm certain other schools are playing somebody across the board. I think Penn State plays Pitt every year, right? They have lately. I don't know if they're on the schedule.
They have. Penn State tries to avoid Pitt whenever they can.
Are they really? I thought that was a rivalry that they were going to keep going, but maybe not.
It is a rivalry. Pitt wants to play it. Penn State doesn't want to waste their time. So it's one of those, like, Penn State thinks Pitt's beneath them, but Pitt will play.
Because it looks really bad when Pitt beats them.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. Doesn't happen often, but when it happens, it's embarrassing. Why give yourself an opportunity to embarrass yourself? I get it.
Exactly.
It's going to have a ripple effect. That will have a ripple effect about how the rest of college football works. That will 100% have a ripple effect. And
I don't even know if the Big Ten is leading the forefront on this. I mean, we saw this one report yesterday.
You're the only one that's got a leak that's got anything like that. The SEC is going to try to play football the way.
They are. Absolutely.
We in the South we're going to throw the blinders on. We're going to try it. The reason it's so big down here is because for the longest time, outside of the Dallas Cowboys, there just weren't pro teams that anybody cared about. Nobody cared about the Saints. Nobody cared about the Falcons. Nobody really cared about the Oilers, and the Oilers disappeared for a couple of years. It's a college football is our pro football.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I have no say in it. I wish they'd call me and ask my opinion every now and then.
So do I, honestly. So do I.
But we are going forward. I fully believe that they are going to try and just say, we're going to play. And if we have to have half stadiums or quarter stadiums or whatever, we're going to do it. If we can put disclaimers on the back of tickets and say you're here at your own risk and let everybody in 80,000 strong at Tiger Stadium and 100,000 strong at Neyland Stadium, then we're going to do that too. I mean, I think everything is on the table for the SEC.
Sure.
Like Alabama's got USC. If USC backs out, does the SEC say we're just going to fill that with somebody, or do we try to do the same kind of, all right, let's go to a 10 or an 11 game schedule and see what we can do in the SEC?
Yeah, I'm 99% sure that USC is not going to be playing football right away.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about all, but the students are not coming back to campus.
So that's my question. All right, so we're going to get on this. Let's transition this from the Big Ten and what y'all are doing to what do you think is going to happen with all of this and college sports starting, then we'll transition to some more pro sports stuff. But so let's say the Big Ten, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12 all start week 0, week 1. We're on time. Now, the schedule's all funky, but we're on time. Mm-hmm. And USC is like 3 weeks behind. How in the hell is that going to work?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, like there's going to be a tipping point. Like USC's having issues. You're seeing all sorts of positive tests at Clemson. Had 37 positive tests.
Yeah, they are using what Dan Wetzel has claimed the Fauci Cup.
Right.
They are leading the Fauci Cup. My LSU Tigers were right there nipping on their heels. Your two championship game last year are trying to get herd immunity quickly, it seems like. Alabama got insulted by that, and they sent their kids out partying, and they actually made a competition of it. I think have bounties on who gets it first.
Yeah.
So we're different breed in the South. We do things differently. We live a little different lifestyle. Football is important. It matters more.
For sure.
Just matters. I think that's a ridiculous statement. I say it all the time in mocking of the SEC, but they live to that.
Yeah, it just means more.
They really do. And what do you think is going to happen? Honest opinion, college football, give me your opinion. Not what you want to happen, not what you hope happens. What do you think is going to happen?
So you asked me that question last week. I think they were going to play. Like it's going to happen. They would, one or two teams might be dropping out like USC. My gut feeling a week ago was they're going to play. Right now, you asked me, I think we're going to be looking at a lot of spring football. Wow. Perfectly honest. Yeah. Nobody wants that to happen. I don't want that to happen.
What happens to all of the potential professional players?
Sure. I mean, that's a huge question.
Because the NFL
said they're not moving the draft.
Has asked the NFL, would you move the draft from April to May or June? And the NFL said, no, sir.
Hell no.
We don't move for anybody. Last week, I compared the NFL to God. I said, when God starts canceling things, I get worried. All right?
Sure.
I fully look at them as a God in our country. Not just in the game of football or in sports or athletics. I think I've told you this.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if these NFL teams want to have butts in the seats, if they want to sell out the house and put disclaimers on the back of tickets and sell all 40,000 seats to Soldier Field, but Chicago is still locked down and Illinois is still locked down, I will tell you those states will reopen by NFL time. Because I believe these owners have that much power over their local jurisdiction.
Well, and the NFL brings there's so much money involved in the NFL, just locally, nationally, all across the board. The amount of money in the NFL is just off the charts. And we talked about this earlier with hockey going to Canada. But at the end of the day, it's going to be how is this going to affect the bottom line? If college can figure out a way to, if it makes more sense financially to move to the spring where you're going to be able to sell more tickets, if you can get your TV partners on board, which I don't see why you wouldn't, because what else is going on in the spring? Early baseball, that's kind of it.
Well, they're not worried about competing with anything else other than the NFL. And so as long as they're not competing with the NFL, they'll compete with college basketball all day long, and they'll blow them out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the worst watched tournament we've ever had because people will be watching college football.
Well, and it's only on Saturdays, really. So
true. That's right. There's a tournament might adjust and say, well, we're not going to play on Saturdays.
Go
an off day.
Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday.
Sunday, Monday. That's it. That would be the way I would do it if I was the people putting on that show. But you're college football. You're the second biggest horse in all of sports right now for the last, 10 years. You make the rules outside of the NFL.
Right.
God says what they're going to do. You say what you're going to do, and then everybody else falls in line. You don't care about anybody else's opinion.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue and what's going to cause the biggest headaches is the fact that there is no Roger Goodell of college football. I mean, Mark Emmert does not do anything. I mean,
no. We make it a point to mock him relentlessly.
As well you should.
The next time he does something right will be the first time he's done something right.
But I don't even count that that's going to happen. So I don't waste my brain space thinking about, possibilities that aren't going to happen. But the fact that you've got so many more people involved, like commissioners, presidents, ADs. There's so many different hands in the pot. It's going to make it really, really complicated to do. And only if it makes zero financial sense to play in the fall will we be looking at spring. Again, my gut, as we sit here recording today, is that's what's going to happen. But I would be happy to be wrong.
So I'll tell you my thought on that, and this is what worries me. It's something that I hate about our country and where we live. Love our country. I say this all the time. We live in the greatest country in the world, and what makes us great is the fact that all of our problems are piddly-ass problems in most other countries, okay? That's a beautiful thing. We politicize everything, and in the South, we are going to play because we want to support our government and reopen and have a strong economy and kind of flip it in the nose of the liberals who they see are weak. The liberal states are going to stay shut down. I believe that there is going to be a faction of schools that will play and a faction of schools that will not, and it will literally be drawn up on, are you a red or a blue state? It is something that breaks my heart and irks me to a core because we have to politicize everything. And I just want to love something without caring who else loves it, okay? And if Trump loves it and you hate Trump, you have to hate it now. No. That's okay. It's okay for me and him to like the same thing and we not be the same person. If Pelosi loves it and you hate Pelosi, I have to hate it now. No. It's okay. She likes ice cream. I like ice cream. We can like the same things and still disagree on everything that happens in our country. I think that's what I think is going to happen. You're probably right on Southern California not playing. USC, UCLA, Cal, Stanford not playing. You're probably right on that because I don't know that their state is going to allow it. And the problem is the people making the decisions, a little bit of the commissioners, a lot of the commissioners' bosses, which are the ADs and the school presidents, and those people, that group of people are the weakest group of people on the planet because they have to cow down to donors. And if your donors want you to play, you will play. And if your donors don't, you won't because they need that emergency 20 when they call. Mm-hmm. And that is why I think this is going to end up politicized. We will have spring football and fall football, which I might really enjoy getting 2 football leagues. The spring football league is going to be so bastardized because anybody that has a chance to go to the NFL is not going to play, and those teams are just going to be so much weaker. And shame for those players missing out on a final season, on a final opportunity to get game film for the pros. It just sucks. It sucks all the way around if you're a senior, not a junior, and this is it. You have no more eligibility whatsoever, and you're a fringe NFL player.
I have a hunch that if it does get moved to the spring, there's going to be exceptions. I mean, there's going to be exceptions all over the place. And I think that exceptions will have to be made. And because there's too many players, like you said, seniors, juniors thinking about going pro, who won't play. And like I said, that will destroy some teams. Other teams are everyone. I mean, every team has seniors and juniors who are planning on leaving or going. There's going to have to be exceptions, and that's one of the things that people are going to have to figure out.
The guy that came to my mind now, I'm not thinking of your Trevor Lawrence's because Trevor Lawrence, while an elite player, okay,
he doesn't have to play this year.
He plays on a loaded team where I have to guess his backup is probably a 4-star, 5-star, pretty damn good, throwing to other 4 and 5 stars. It doesn't matter. They might not be championship favorites without Trevor Lawrence, but they're still playoff favorites without him.
Yeah, at least 10 wins.
What I'm thinking of is teams like Colorado last year. Laviska Shenault is in the conversation as one of the greatest college football players, one of the greatest college wide receivers we've seen in a long, long time. If he misses, that destroys a team like Colorado. He was so much of a percentage of their offense. It's that kind of stuff that I worry about. Those teams are going to be really affected because one great player on a good team hurts. So
yeah,
let's move on past that. You're a Northwestern guy. You follow Northwestern sports. all Northwestern sports y'all talk about on Westlot Pirates. We'll give you another little plug there. Find them there. They don't just talk Northwestern, by the way. Right now, how my favorite time of the year to listen to you guys is right now, because you're going to go through every Big Ten preview, every team. Y'all are going to deep dive them. I love it. I love every bit of it. And then you're going to deep dive all the teams that you play in non-con and your whole Big Ten schedule. It's one of my favorite things. But give me a quick state of the union on Northwestern football. How do you feel about the state of the program coming off one of the most disappointing years in a long time?
Sure. I feel great because we fired Mick McCall. That offensive coordinator who's had to go for the past 5 or 6 years, but couldn't go because we're winning. And who fires a coordinator after a 10-win season? A lot of teams do. Northwestern doesn't.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've got Mike Bajakian coming in from Boston College, a guy who plays super up-tempo, yet a run-first offense. So it's going to be really, really interesting. I can't wait to see, because we have so much coming back. We have, I think, 9 or 10 returning starters on offense, 9 or 10 returning starters on defense, which was phenomenal last year.
I was about to say that defense was pretty stout, too.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and it's going to be as long as Pat's there, right? We trust
absolutely.
that the defense is just – he's going to wake up, and y'all are just going to always be able to stop the run and pressure quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not worried at all about the defense. I'm excited about the offense. I wish I knew a little bit more about what the offense is going to look like, because there's still like a huge question mark at quarterback.
Well, and that's the problem with Pat too. Like, he gives you and he takes from you on – he just pretty much treats you like mushrooms, feed you shit, and keep you in the dark about everything.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to know –
you didn't know who your quarterback was ever.
No, I mean, the entire season we had no idea who our
until
quarterback
somebody
was.
got hurt. That's it. Like, all right, he's hurt. He's out.
Even then.
Yeah, you're right.
Hunter Johnson missed a bunch of the middle of the season with injury, and his mom had breast cancer, and he was taking care of that. So, we didn't know about that until after he had come back. So, you don't get a lot of news from the Northwestern program. But that being said, Peyton Ramsey coming in, I'm still a big believer in Hunter Johnson. I mean, I think he was a victim of a terrible offense, and, he had trouble picking up what was a terrible offense, something that wasn't tailored to his strengths. I think that Bajakian has shown throughout his career that he builds a system to the players instead of building players to the system. And that excites me.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how that looks. The fear of not having the sold guy is if you have multiple players at quarterback that you're trying to figure out who the guy is, but they do different things. So he can't build 2 different offenses for each of them. He's basically, in his mind, needs to make the decision on who's going to be the quarterback and sees, does the other guys mold to it and can they win the job, even though they are not the one it was built for.
Right.
That's a little bit of your negative. And I'm always of the philosophy of I never get too married to the depth chart, because I love competition and I want the best guy to win the job. And I've tried to convince my friends who are Browns fans with me to say, listen, being married to Baker is not smart. If somebody comes in and beats him out, then we have the better player. And yes, we wasted a first-round pick and it's a bust and it's fine. If they don't and they push him to be better and to reach his full potential because he's got somebody nipping at his heels where he's always thrived in, then that's good too. It's never bad. I never like giving the guys the keys to the Cadillac and saying it's yours. Run with this thing. You need to be Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. You need to, Watson. You need to be that level, Russell Wilson, of trusting with the offense.
You mentioned Russell Wilson. I think he's a perfect example of that.
Yes.
His rookie year, he came in 3rd on the depth chart. By the 3rd preseason game, they handed him the keys because
my boy, Ryan Matt Flynn, had the job. He was the big money quarterback that they signed. He was the big free agent signing that they broke the checkbook out and said, come be our quarterback. And he was cut by week 8. not on the roster, because Pete Carroll understands competition is healthy. Competition is good, and sometimes competition helps you find a diamond in the rough.
And it also, lets you know who's not going to come up to the, who's not going to step up to the plate. You look, unfortunately, you look at a guy like Paxton Lynch in Denver, a guy who's given every opportunity to succeed Peyton Manning and just couldn't do it.
Nope.
Trevor Siemian, Northwestern Zone, started 2 years in Denver because Paxton Lynch couldn't beat him out.
Yeah. No, and that's right. You learn. I think it's important to push your rookies and not just give them the keys to the kingdom. When you give them the keys to the kingdom, it's a dangerous thing. It can set your franchise back for a long time. Your college, you can throw a season away. Last year, the Browns wasted a season of a loaded roster. You just can't do that. In college football, most of these guys are only here. The great ones are only there for 3 years. Everybody else probably redshirted a year and might only stay 4 anyway, just because they're not elite athletes or whatever. You don't really want to be wasting seasons on the wrong guy.
No.
So anyway, that's my thought. I'm excited about Northwestern football. I really want us to have it because I want to see this offense. We're in lock and step. I want to see you guys open the offense, not be so conservative, strictly because that defense is really competitive. You're not the bastard child of the Big Ten anymore.
No.
You're just not. Those days are gone. They've been gone since Pat's been there. You're legit competitors for your division year in and year out if you can put it together on offense.
Yeah, I mean, if we can, not run up the middle every first down, run an off tackle second down, and then run a little swing pass on third down, which was the entire offense, and we could call it
for the last 4 years. You
more
made
than that.
You made it to a Big Ten title game doing that, by the way.
Yeah, we did.
That's really scary and really sad. Last thing, we'll get off of college. We'll get off of all of that. I want to get on Patrick Mahomes. You are a Denver fan. I'm sorry I'm doing this to you.
No, that's fair.
We can talk about it in kind of a weird, funny way, okay? We'll get it a little bit into his contract. He talked to some Yahoo writers today, and he was going through a list of things that he's not allowed to do. So over the next 12 years, Patrick is going to make between $400 and $500 million if he doesn't get hurt and he plays through football. My question is this. He said, I'm not allowed to play baseball. I'm not allowed to play basketball. I'm not allowed to jet ski. And he said, and let me tell you, the list is really long of other things I'm not allowed to do. Got me thinking, if somebody was going to give me $400 million, what is something that they would have to say you can't do anymore for 12 years or you lose this money? Is there anything you can think of?
Breathe, eat, drink water.
Yeah.
If I couldn't do any of those three.
Yeah, those are important for life.
Yeah.
So the money doesn't matter.
Besides that, I don't know. I mean,
it's tough, right? I mean, there's nothing there's a lot of things I love.
Sure.
I don't know if there's anything that I love that I can't go without for 12 years, all right?
And you're walking away with $500 million? Yeah, no. I will sit, if all Mahomes does for the next 12 years is play football and go home and play video games.
Yeah.
He's going to be just fine.
And as long as he keeps the internet mic version off of the video games, the beauty of that is if you don't get outside of the things that you're not allowed to do for the contract, and it's real restricting, you can't screw it up.
Yeah.
You can't, if they told me, Chris, we're going to give you this money, but you can't be on Twitter. Gone. Yeah. I'll figure out a way to get off of social media addictions, but gone, because we can't take a chance of you saying something stupid, you getting canceled, and now we got to get rid of you, or we got to just take this L and hope that the championships overrun the cancelization of whatever you said.
Right.
It's tough, but it is. You do kind of see the other side of fame and fortune. No one's crying for him. No one's feeling bad for him, but there is a little bit of you lose the ability to have a life, but I'm sure you can still be a star.
Yeah, and he lost that when he got drafted by the Chiefs. I mean, the fact that he's now making $500 million compared to before when he was just the Super Bowl winning quarterback of the Chiefs, or even like this rookie hotshot. Everyone knows his face. So like the fact that he's in Kansas City and they know him, they love him there. Already he's being noticed wherever he goes. This money is not going to change that.
I don't think so either. And he comes from a great family that comes from means. That he didn't grow up poor, and this is the first person in their life, in their generations, to ever have wealth and money. Maybe not this much money, but they come from nothing, and so this isn't a shock to them. Got a strong family. That's a good thing. The Midwest is a beautiful place, okay? I married somebody from the Midwest. I love the Midwest. I think it is the most welcoming and friendly place in the country. I am from the South, where we have Southern hospitality. I'm a big believer that some of that is bullshit. We like to think of ourselves that way, but I don't think we always are that way. The Midwest really is. He has done a great job of being kind of an excellent role model there. The stories of him and his girlfriend or wife at the time, I don't know, are they married yet or not, but like going out to eat at a pizza place and nobody bothered him the whole time. And they left, and he went to the owner as they were leaving and just picked up the tab for the whole restaurant and was like, thank you. Thank you for letting me have a life. Here's food on me, and have a wonderful night out. Go Chiefs and get out of there. And I think, man, Midwesterners just eat that up. That is, you just won the heart and soul of all of them. Being a Broncos fan, one of my best friends is a Chargers fan. When they got this deal, which we knew it was coming anyway. He's never leaving the Chiefs. He just texted me, and it was so funny. He just said, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem for a long time. And he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know exactly what it's like to be on the other side of that, to be that problem. I mean,
that's
Peyton
right.
Manning.
Yes.
Peyton Manning. Denver was a problem. John Elway. Denver was a problem.
John Elway, Denver was a problem. The drive, makes me want to vomit a little in my mouth. But that's okay. That's all right. I'm past that.
It's warm fuzzies all over.
Yeah.
And then the fumble next year. Anyway, sorry.
I wore that T-shirt yesterday, by the way. Anyway.
He's going to be really, really good. And what makes me even more frustrated, well, not frustrated, but like worried about Kansas City is like, it's a massive contract, but like the Chiefs cap only went up like $30,000 because of that for the next 2 years.
Well, the next 2 years, it's still his rookie money. The new money doesn't hit. He's got a big signing bonus, but the new money doesn't hit until the initial deal is over.
Yeah, so I think like as we learn more and more about the way these contracts are structured, we're going to find out like it's not necessarily going to hamstring them completely. Like Kansas City's going to be really good for a long time. I'm just hoping that as the Broncos, that Drew Lock can be what Pat Mahomes was. I like
Drew. I really do. I don't see this at all. I hope he's good, but will he ever be better than the top 10 quarterback? I don't know.
We'll have to see.
You got to be hopeful, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Did we know what Pat Mahomes was before he got the keys to the car?
He was very much the quarterback that I would like to draft. He's very much a boomer bust guy. I don't ever want to. I would never, if running a franchise, I've said this. Our fans hear me say this all the time. I would never, ever, ever draft Andy Dalton. I just wouldn't. If Sam Darnold, I would not have drafted. I just wouldn't, because if I don't think you have the potential to be crazy, stupid, elite, then I don't want it. I don't care what your floor is, because if your floor is terrible, then I know immediately I punt you out the door. But if you're Andy Dalton, I'm stuck with you for 15 years. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I just don't. So the only solace I have is the other day I went down and I ran through the last 10 years of Super Bowls. 9 Super Bowl competing of the 10 quarterbacks. So you've got 20 quarterbacks in 10 years. 9 of those 20 quarterbacks are all on rookie deals.
Okay.
Very few of those quarterbacks ever won titles after they got paid. All of the quarterbacks that won on rookie deals have not won yet. We're going back 10 years. We're talking Aaron Rodgers won his second year as a starter, and people thought he's going to win a ton. Just like we talk about Patrick Mahomes right now. We thought, man, this train is just getting started. Look how great he is. But he took too much money. The team didn't build around him. Him and the coaching staff started having rifts. And the next thing you know, we're a decade ago, and he's won like 3 other playoff games after that. That's it, man. He hadn't had a lot of run at all.
No.
And out of those 11 quarterbacks that did make the Super Bowl that were on their second deal, 5 of them or 6 of them were Tom Brady. And so, like, if you take
2 of them
Tom
were Peyton Manning.
And two of them were Peyton. So, like if you took Tom out, like the percentage of how many make it with a rookie deal is way higher than the percentage of the quarterbacks that are getting paid, because I just believe it's a money league more now.
Completely.
So anyway, we'll wrap that up. We'll end there. Thank you for coming on with me, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Check these guys out, Westlot Pirates. Right now, they are going through their previews. If you need a good laugh, they just finished Rutgers preview the other day. Rutgers. And that's always my favorite every year now that they're in the league, because it's just fun. I get to listen to football, and some people make some jokes, and it's lighthearted, and nobody really gets hurt. So
it's usually John or Eric are making all the jokes.
Sam's a nice guy.
I'm the straight man. I keep the bus rolling.
Well, somebody has to be the grown-up. This is why I asked you to come on.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, tonight we're going to be recording Michigan and Ohio State, so look for those in the next few days to drop. So that's kind of the top of the Big Ten that we're looking at, and then we'll go on into the Northwestern schedule. We open up with Michigan State, so those are kind of the next 3. We're doing our previews as if everything's going to go on as normal.
Gary and I are about to get started with all our stuff, and we're going to do it's the only way we know how to do it. We're just going to go forward as if we don't know this thing exists.
If things need to change, we'll roll with that. But until someone says absolutely, it's not business as usual, we're going business as usual.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you jumping in with me. Thank you, guys. Thank y'all for joining us. We appreciate you watching the videos. We appreciate you downloading the podcast. Leave a review. Share it out with your friends. It really means a lot to us from the bottom of our hearts. And as always, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Thanks.